So today's New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2024. Bitcoin daily time frame. We're currently dancing around the range, in between the range of this daily order block and this daily order block. So I called this out yesterday on my Twitter. I'll come into the lower time frame of this, but basically the 50% of this daily order block was respected to come down and tap into the 50% of this daily order block to come back up, take out some buy side liquidity and stay between the ranges of the 50% of this daily order block and the 50% of this daily order block. Now in the 4 hour time frame, I pretty much mentioned this move as well a few days ago on my Twitter. There's a 4 hour fair value gap right here, and that we would see bearish move if we respected it, which is what we saw. And then we took out sell side liquidity, tapping into the 50% of the daily order block, rejecting back up, tapping into this 4 hour fair value gap right there. That's the 50% of the order block that's in line with the 4 hour fair value gap. And I mentioned on my Twitter that the most ideal short scenario would be right here when we seen it tap into the 4 hour fair value gap and the 50% of the daily order block, and that's what we had. Boom, we had a rejection, nice sell-off, precision move. And then we respected the 50% of the daily order block right here by coming back up, taking out buy side liquidity, tapping into the 50% of this daily order block, and then rejecting down into this 4 hour fair value gap. And then the 1 hour time frame, it's pretty much like this. So again, as I mentioned, this is the 4 hour fair value gap level. But on the 1 hour time frame, came down, taking out sell side liquidity right there from the past 10 days or so, rejecting back up, tapping into the 4 hour fair value gap right here in line with the 50% of the daily order block, coming down, rejecting, and then coming back up to take out the buy side liquidity right here, tapping into the 4 hour, 50% of the 4 hour, 50% of the 4 hour order block right there, which is also in line with this 1 hour fair value gap. So 1 hour fair value gap, 50% of the 4 hour order block, buy side liquidity gets grabbed, and then we come down into this 1 hour fair value gap range. I just want to show real quick what it looks like on the trading view chart. Just going to remove all this extra stuff, but essentially when we took out, this is the 4 hour fair value gap move. We took that, we came down. Actually, so this move right here was the one on my Twitter for a couple days ago where I mentioned we would see. I'm just going to remove everything because it's kind of crazy. But I mentioned this move right here that if we stayed below here, this 4 hour fair value gap, we would see a move down. That's what we saw right here. And then we took out the sell side liquidity from the past like 10 days or so right there. And then we shot right back up, leaving a fair value gap right here, right there on the 15-minute time frame. That could have been an entry. Coming back up, taking out buy side liquidity, and then this 4 hour fair value gap that I've been referencing on the charts just moments ago, we tap into it there, and then there's a move and I mentioned that we respected it, so we had, and then we collapsed downwards, and then coming back up, this move back up, respecting the daily order block right here, the 50% of it, there's the fair value gap entry right there, that could have been an entry, and then respecting and tapping into the 1 hour order block, 1 hour fair value gap, 4 hour, 50% of the 4 hour order block right there, to then drop down and cause that move right there. So that's what it looks like on Bitcoin. But going into Ethereum, same thing with Ethereum kind of thing. We had a 50% of this order block that's currently being respected. This daily order block, the 50% of it, we're just in that range. And look at how the bodies of the candles are respecting that. And then every single time we tap in, we come down and we had a rejection at this 4 hour fair value gap. Because look, 4 hour fair value gap, we tap into it, drop. We kind of tease it a little bit. We didn't tap into it, cause some buy side liquidity to be formed, come down to the daily order block level, take out the buy side liquidity, tap into the 4 hour fair value gap, drop. 50% of the daily order block is respected, coming back up into the 4 hour fair value gap. Again, taking out the buy side liquidity just above there, drop. So we're currently in the range of this 4 hour fair value gap and the daily order block level right here that I've been referencing. So essentially, I kind of want to see what Bitcoin, Ethereum are going to do. So for me I want to see a break out of this range, whether it's a break up above and go higher, then that's what is going to convince me to go higher, or whether it's a break out of this range and go lower on a closing basis, and that's what would convince me that we're going to go lower. But the fact that we're currently between this range of this 4 hour fair value gap in this order block, it's like 50-50. There's a daily fair value gap level right here that we could see Ethereum come up, tap into, and reject. That's one scenario, so we'll see what we get. And then again on Bitcoin, currently in this range as well. So we're in the range of this daily order block and this daily order block. We don't, I guess, like I mentioned with Ethereum, I kind of want to see a breakout of this range on a closing basis on the daily candle if we're going to go higher, or on a closing basis on the daily candle if we're going to go lower. And that's what will lead me to believe we're going to go higher or lower. I want to see us break out of this range and let it convince me and play its hand. I want Bitcoin to play its hand so then I can know where we're going to go because right now it's 50-50. All right, Happy New Year.